Hey guys, sorry the camera's out of focus. I still can't afford a new one, but maybe next month I'll have the money. So I've recently finished 13 Reasons Why and I was very moved by it. Some of it was very emotive and very graphic. I don't necessarily agree with all of that. I think it could have been done in a different way, but regardless, like, I liked the series. I basically liked the message they were trying to purvey, that you shouldn't bully people, blah blah blah, and it showed a lot of things about rape and sexual harassment and how bad they can be. I like the series. I know there's been some controversy about how they depict mental illness or don't depict mental illness enough, and there's some debate to be had about how they told the story, and I kind of understand that, but I liked it. Although I don't agree with the people who are saying 13 Reasons Why told me that bullying is bad, because, like, you should know bullying is bad, and I think a lot of people are probably saying that for retweets, and I don't agree with that. However, it does, in my opinion, show how bad bullying can be, and the other things it involved, like sexism, sexual harassment, rape, blah blah blah. Like, it showed that those things can have a massive impact on somebody's life. And I thought that other people who watched the show would have similar feelings, especially if they were fans of the show, but as for the 13 Reasons Why fandom, that didn't seem to be the case. So the first thing I kind of picked up on to do with this was all the memes and jokes that came out of it, which I wouldn't mind if it was a meme about, like, a funny situation that happened in the thing, but when it's memes about self-harm, suicide, rape, etc., it's not funny and it's not something that someone should be joking about. And some people even defended that and said, oh, but I've watched the show and I was really sad when I watched the show, so it's okay for me to joke about rape. And, like, you can't tell me I can't, basically. And it's ridiculous that someone could watch a show like that and allegedly get upset by it, and maybe it allegedly, like, had a profound impact on them, but then think, yeah, but I can joke about rape and no one can tell me not to. Like, that's really triggering for people. And if you think rape is funny to start with, I don't even know, like, there's something wrong with you if you think that that sort of thing is funny. And like I said, it's very triggering to people who are affected by that someone's making jokes about it and posting it all over the internet, especially without trigger warnings. So I've also seen things like this, 13 Reasons Why fans attacking Riverdale fans just for being in a different fandom. Like, that's nothing new. That's something I've talked about on here before. People attacking people for liking a different band or TV show or something. So we've got conversations like this. A 13 Reasons Why fan is saying to someone from Riverdale, I think, kill yourself perhaps, you selfish, annoying bitch. And then when they were called up on it, that, like, you stand a show about suicide and bullying and yet you're telling someone to kill themselves, someone said that to them. And the person says, yes, if they're selfish and annoying, I get a free pass to tell them to kill themselves. Kill yourself, you selfish, annoying, big bitch. I don't know. It's bizarre. I think a lot of the times with shows like this, shows that are particularly popular, there's a lot of bandwagoning. It becomes the new thing and people just want to jump on the bandwagon and be like, yeah, 13 Reasons Why, my favourite show, wow. Even if they don't actually take any of it on board, like, they don't connect with it for emotional reasons. Yeah, I think there is a lot of getting on the bandwagon and trying to look cool. I did see a tweet saying that because it's produced by Selena Gomez, loads of, like, little kids will watch it because of Selena Gomez. And it was kind of implying that, like, oh, that's why all these preteens watch this. And I don't necessarily think that, because it's a good show and it deals with serious issues and stuff, and I think people are interested in that, even if they're preteens. I do think there are probably people who are, like, Selena Gomez stans, and then if she says watch it, they'll watch it. Like, that happens. Especially with, like, 12 and 13-year-olds who shouldn't be watching it anyway. Someone also made a thread of Musical.lys where people are, what are you doing, Musical.ly, lip-syncing or whatever, acting, dancing, whatever, to Hannah's tapes, like they're a fun song or something, which is disgusting. Like, that's like dancing around to a recording of someone's suicide note or something. I thought that those kids had watched the show and like recorded it and made their own Musical.ly thing, but apparently Musical.ly has her tapes as tracks for people to use. At first I was like, why are kids watching that show anyway? Secondly, why are they like making a joke out of it or making it cool? And they were glamorizing it. But yeah, I thought they shouldn't be watching it anyway, and apparently it's just a track on Musical.ly. They might not even know where it's from, or they might see hashtag 13 reasons why and think, oh, I need to get on that bandwagon. And they're making someone's like suicide message into like doing a dance to it. It's ridiculous. It's cringe as hell, and it's also problematic as hell, and I just don't understand neurotypical people. I think there are a lot of people who think suicide is cool or edgy, and it's not. So aside from stans bullying other stans, and aside from romanticising or glamorising suicide, I've seen a lot of hate directed at the actors. More specifically, people have been coming after the actor that plays Clay Jensen, specifically coming after his looks and attacking him for not being perfect looking. Like, he's a fairly attractive guy. I'm not gonna say that he's like the Hollywood perfect like supermodel look, but he's like reasonably attractive, he's fine. And I've seen a lot of people attacking him for how he looks, or saying that, oh, she would never go for some average white boy, and just like stupid shit like that within the context of the show, but also attacking other fans who just like him or think he's attractive. And I'm sure anyone can have someone who thinks they're attractive. It's not up to someone else to decide that if you find someone attractive, it's wrong, you're not allowed to, they're not perfect enough, in your opinion. Like, no one can have an opinion on who else. But I've been seeing things like this. So someone's posted about him, and someone else has said,
leave your house today and you'll see 17 boys who look exactly like this. Basic white boy, he's average.
And a lot of the negative comments the guy was getting, they're coming for him not because he's like ugly or horrible looking in their eyes, but because he's average. He's a normal guy. And that's wrong in their mind. He has to be like Hollywood, attractive, perfect, supermodel, male model, porn star, whatever. That went a bit far. He has to be the epitome of perfect to them. And these are people who look down on average people, so I'm guessing these are attractive people, or like self-identifying as attractive. You know, everyone's attractive to someone, but they obviously see themselves as very attractive. They would only go for a really attractive person. If someone's just normal and just like okay looks, that's horrible. I've seen so much stuff like that, just attacking people for being average looking, like being okay, which isn't just bad to the person who they're aiming that at, because like chances are he won't see it, and maybe if he does, like maybe he doesn't care, who knows. But it is very harmful to other people who are average looking and to people who are less than average looking. And I know you're probably thinking, don't go personal, Amy, I don't give a shit, but I'm gonna go personal. Because when me or someone like me sees stuff like that, they think, oh, you think this person is hideous just for being like average and not being the image of perfection, so what would you think of me? If like average looking, if like being alright isn't good enough for them and means that they can come and bully the person, then those of us who are less than average, like what does that make us? They probably think they're just being harmful to an actor who's never gonna see it, but they're being harmful to so many more people. On the TV show itself, there were some people who disagreed with the message it brought forward or the way the message comes across, which is fine, but I do have some disagreements with some of those people. A lot of what I've seen is basically saying that if someone commits suicide, there's a high chance they have mental health problems, and that was not explored in the show, and I agree with that. They didn't really show mental health problems as being a possibility for her, like that was kind of glossed over, and I agree that they could have showed that more. But what I've seen people go on to say is people commit suicide because they have depression, because they have a mental illness or a mental disorder. People don't just commit suicide for a couple of people saying bad things to them. Now if you look at what happened to Hannah Baker in the story, she was a victim of sexism for a long time. She was sexually harassed. She was then stalked and put at risk, and then she was raped. I don't know how anyone can see those kind of things happening and be like, oh, some people at the school were bullies and said bad things to her. I think that's really offensive to victims of rape and sexual harassment and sexual abuse, because it's like disregarding what she actually went through. And lots of people who are victims of rape or survivors of rape, unfortunately, they do go on to commit suicide. So that's not wrong. Like, I haven't looked at the facts and the statistics. I don't know how much of it is also related to mental illness or whatever, but I don't think you should just disregard everything that happened. It's offensive to other people who've been sexually abused or raped. It's like saying none of that happened, or it's not valid, or it doesn't matter, and I disagree with that a lot. Another issue I have with some of the opinions that have been brought forward about the show is that Courtney had self-harm scars, cuts, whatever, on her arms, and she said to Hannah, "It's what you do to stop yourself killing yourself." Some sentence like that, and people were very angry about that and said it's not true. They said it's saying that self-harm is the answer and that self-harm is a good way to stop yourself killing yourself, blah blah blah. There are some facts, not very happy facts. Self-harm can prevent suicide, or it can put it off for a time. It gives your body short-term relief, and it can stop you from killing yourself. And if you're doing it, if you're thinking about doing it, I'm going to say don't. Please speak to someone about how you feel and get help, because what I wasn't taught when I was young, unfortunately, is self-harm is very addictive. So if you're tempted to start, please don't. I'm going to say that now, before anyone thinks that I'm saying it's a good idea or something. I'm not. But if someone is self-harming, that can prevent them from committing suicide. It's not the best coping mechanism, and they should definitely look to other coping mechanisms. They should look for help, make sure they've got someone they can talk to, find another coping mechanism to stop you from doing that. However, it is a coping mechanism that can stop you killing yourself. Like I said, it's not the best coping mechanism, it's not a healthy thing to do. There are healthier things to do that you should go for instead. But when it comes down to it, it's better to have scars that will heal than be dead. If someone said to me, your daughter can self-harm or she can kill herself, if someone's self-harming, they can then get help. Obviously that's like a last resort thing, they shouldn't do that, but I'd rather that than someone kills themselves and then they can't get help at all. Saying that, obviously I think people have a right to express an opinion on the show as long as they're not being disrespectful or saying something that could be offensive to victims of bullying or rape survivors or people who look a certain way or whatever. But if they have opinions of the show and how it portrays things, I think, like, that's fine. Everyone has different opinions of things. I liked it, but I think there are some things they could have done better. But Brie Larson tweeted some issues she had with the show, and apparently the fandom like shut her down and she had to delete her tweets. Brie Larson is an actress who does a lot of work to support rape survivors, and it's a really important cause for her, and she had misgivings about it. Like, she had issues with it that she expressed, and she wasn't rude, she wasn't disrespectful, she wasn't being horrible to anyone, she was just expressing an opinion of the show, and she got attacked for it. And I think, how can you like a show like that and be like, yeah, it does show bullying in a good light, or it does show suicide in a helpful light, and seemingly support that, and then attack someone just for not agreeing with your opinion? It blows my mind that the fandom is so hypocritical that people will defend the show and how it portrays bullying as being bad or whatever, and then they'll go and bully someone who doesn't agree. It blows my mind. It makes no sense. And it's completely hypocritical. Another thing I have issues with was Jensen's tape. It was really hyped up all the way through, like, what's Jensen's tape gonna be? And some people like implied that he'd done something really bad or whatever. And when it came down to it, all it was that he understood the word no, listened to someone's feelings, and did what they told him to do, which is like respecting someone's consent and respecting someone's wishes. Like, I don't see what he did wrong that he deserves to be on those tapes. Yeah, she thought he hated her or whatever, but I think that was from her own mistake. Like, I shouted at him, he must hate me. I don't know, it doesn't make any sense to me that he would even have a tape, because he seemed to be the only guy who understood her boundaries and understood the word no. He didn't say he loved her and he was shy and stuff like that. There's lots of people who are too shy to say that someone loves them, or it might not be appropriate to say it for whatever reason, and I don't want them to think, oh, if I don't tell this person I love them because I'm shy and then they kill themselves, it's my fault and I'm a horrible person. Like, being shy or nervous to talk about your feelings isn't a crime. I don't think people should be demonized for that. I think a lot of people experience that, and things that people were saying like, your life and mental health couldn't be saved from some average white boy or whatever, like they were saying it in a degrading way to degrade him, like, oh, he's just an average white boy. But I kind of agree with the message that if you're mentally unstable, someone saying, oh, I love you or whatever isn't necessarily going to change that. Maybe he could have helped the situation a bit, but he couldn't have completely changed the situation, and at the same time, I don't think he did anything wrong. I think them showing that he's done something wrong or implying that he's done something wrong could be problematic, because it would make people not want to be as respectful or not want to listen to someone's boundaries or consent or whatever, and it seems to go against the rest of the show. But I do like him as a character, I just don't really understand or agree with the message they're putting forward with that. So I think I've said everything that I wanted to say about this situation. In summary, I do have some issues with the show and how they portray some things, but I liked it on the whole. And I think you should be able to express your opinion on the show and how you felt about it, as long as you're not triggering anyone, or as long as, you know, being careful not to belittle anyone else's experiences. And also be mindful of spoilers and stuff like that. Put spoiler warnings, put trigger warnings. Some people don't want to know the ending, so please be mindful of other people when you're using social media. Above all, please don't bully people. Please respect people's boundaries. Do not do things like making lists of all the hot girls and stuff like that, which seemed harmful to people in the show but wasn't so harmful. Just don't do things like that. And don't do it online as well. Don't come for people's looks, even if you think they're not going to see it, because even if they don't see it, it might upset other people who are either triggered by it or might have their own insecurities that you're then adding to. And just remember that looks aren't important anyway. If one person thinks an actor is attractive, or any person is attractive, it's not for you to say that they're not and that person's wrong and that person can't like them. Looks are subjective to everyone, and deciding that certain people look wrong or whatever is harmful and is really hypocritical if you're supporting a show like 13 Reasons Why to take that mindset that's kind of against what the show is promoting. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm sorry if it was a bit heavy, and I'll see you guys soon, and I hope you have a nice day. Bye! I'm meant to be filming here, and look. Pikachu!